Yes, the global speed stick competition has been absolutely firing this summer, and there has been a lot of entries on the speed stick. Well over 100 entries now, and there have been the biggest speeds we have ever seen on the speed stick.
Oh, make it stop! Make it stop!
Where are you? All right, you can't see me. The global speed stick competition is a sailing competition that is running all year round. So it doesn't matter where you sail or what you sail, you can get involved. All you need is a device which has a GPS on board, like even your phone. You can put it in a dry bag, take it out on the boat with you, and then you can send me the results, get on the speed stick leaderboard. So let's jump straight in and see who's been laying it down on the speed stick most recently. Okay, so kicking it off in 110th position for Pernille with a Hobie T1, sailing out of Svendborg Sound in Denmark with a speed of 10.10 knots. Yes, you don't have to be sending it like you're on fire to get on the speed stick. Doesn't matter what your biggest speed is, because as well as competing against the rest of the world, you are mostly competing against yourself. Okay, in 108th, we've got Tracy and Sally sailing a Dart 18 in East London, South Africa, speed 12.2. East London Sailing Club in South Africa, they actually ran their own speed stick leaderboard competition, and they submitted their whole leaderboard to the global speed stick. Yes, you can do that. So in 106th, we've got Luke and Josh also sailing a Dart 18, 13.3. Then also in East London, we've got Michael sailing a laser. Yes, you can get on the leaderboard on a monohull. We'd like more monohulls on the leaderboard. 14 knots on the laser. On a laser, that is cooking the goose, but cooking it a little bit more crispy with 14.5 knots. Also on a laser in East London, South Africa, we've got Luke sending it like he needed to send it. Then in 101st position, sailing a Top Cat K4X, sailing on Forgensee, Bavaria, Germany, with a speed of 14.6 knots. We've got Andreas. Oh yeah, Andreas knows how to cook. And then in 100th position, we've got Keegan and Brogan sailing a Hobie 16 in East London, South Africa, 15 knots. Notching it up for Steve, sailing this Hobie 16 solo on Keuka Lake, New York, USA, 15.1 knots. Notching it up in 98th for Tracy and Kana, Dart 18, again, East London, South Africa, with a speed of 15.3. And also East London, 15.3, very consistent in the speeds. On the Hobie 16 was Bruce and Tracy in 97th. Great job there. Then in 93rd, we've got Will sailing a Hobie 15 solo right here, Velocitek Bay, Lefkas, Greece, with a speed of 15.7 knots. Also on 15.7 knots on the other side of the world in Perth, Western Australia, we've got Tim sailing a Hobie 14 Turbo. Now the Turbo is the Hobie 14 with the jib. Nice choice. Then in 88th place, we've got no stranger to these events. We've got Scott dropping it in the slot, this time sailing a Hobie Getaway in Mission Bay, San Diego, California, USA, speed 16.1. And then we're heading back to South Africa, but this time to Valdam in Gauteng with a speed of 16.2 knots. We have Rian and Madeline sailing a Hobie 16. Very nice, cooking the goose. And then on the Hobie 15, again, right here in Velocitek Bay, we've got Will, this time joined by Pete Jan with a speed of 16.5 knots on the Hobie 15. Very nice. Champagne conditions. And then we're heading to Moscow, Russia, where we've got Lena and Ilya sailing the Hobie 16 with a speed of 16.73 knots. Then this is a notch up. We've got Val 70 in France, in Hardelot, sailing a Hobie 16 solo with a speed of 17.10 knots. Nice. Then we're back to East London with a speed of 17.2 for Ash and Hannah on the Hobie 16. Great job there, guys. And then in 68th, sailing on the Amistad Reservoir, Texas, USA, with a speed of 17.59. Now, these are big speeds. 17.59 in anybody else's money, if you round it up, that's 18 knots. We've got Cole and John on the Hobie 16. Great job there, guys. And then in 66th position, we've got Rupert and Darren sailing a VX1, which is a keelboat that looks like this. Sailing in Toronto, Canada, with a speed of 17.7 knots on a keelboat. That is flying on such a craft. And then down to my second favourite place to sail in the world at this time. We've got Robbie and Jay on the Inter 20, sailing out of Ocean Springs, Mississippi, USA, with a speed of 17.8 knots. Very nice. Then in 63rd, we've got Wolf sailing his birdie fish. This is a birdie fish. Yes, it's a very stable foiling monohull. Can't wait to have a go on one of these. Sailing in Markelberger See, Germany, with a speed of 17.9 knots. The goose is getting cooked. 64th position, we've got Chris and Kate sailing a Nacra 5.8 in Fremont Lake, Wyoming, USA, 18 knots. Very nice. In 62nd position, we've got Sean and RJ sailing a Dart 18 in East London, South Africa, with a speed of 18.10. Also with a speed of 18.10, this time in Thunder Bay, Michigan, USA, on a Hobie 18 Magnum. Magnum means it's got the wings. We've got Zach and Lisa. Yes, very nice. All right, and then in 57th, we've got Paul sailing the Hobie 16 solo in Marina de Tutti on the Adriatic coast of Italy with a speed of 18.42. Great job there, Paul. Sorry it didn't blow for you here in Vasiliki Bay this time, but next time it's going to be on. In 52nd position, we've got Reg and Ash sailing a Hobie 16 in East London, South Africa, with a speed of 18.6. Very nice. Then in 52nd position, we've got Reg and Lisa sailing a Hobie 16 with a speed of 18.6 knots. All right, then in 50th, fresh in, we've got Matt sailing the Hobie 16 solo in Baltimore, Maryland, USA, with a speed of 18.7. Single-handed on a 16, that is absolutely flying. Now let's head to Maui in the Hawaiian Islands, where we've got Ryan and Joseph, no strangers to these events, sailing the Nacra 500 Honeycat with a speed of 18.8 knots, cooking on gas. And then in 47th position, we've got Morgan and Michael sailing a Dart 18 in East London, South Africa with a speed of 19 knots. Also on 19 knots, sailing in Presque Isle Bay, Erie, Pennsylvania, USA, speed 19 knots, I think I said that, on a Hobie 21 SE, probably the biggest boat we're going to see here today. We have Bobby and DJ in 45th. Then in 42nd, we've got Casper and Els, who I had the pleasure of sailing with earlier on in the summer, on a Hobie 16, sailing in Zeeland, in Holland, with a speed of 19.10. Then a little bit quicker for Zach, who just won the Hilton Head tune-up, test and tune-up regatta on his Hobie 16 solo, sailing on the Rockport Reservoir, Utah, USA, speed 19.12. Very nice. Then we're in 37th for Dean and Eric on a Nacra Inter 20 with a speed of 19.29, sailing on Lake Washington, Seattle, USA, in 37th position. Great job there, guys. In 39th, as it was, we've got Alex and Felix notching it up on the Top Cat K1, sailing in Müggelsee, Germany, with a speed of 19.3. In 36th, we've got Trevor and Ruben sailing a Hobie Tiger in Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii, with a speed of 19.3 knots. Very nice. Looks like such a great place to sail. Get me down there. And yes, I would love to. Thanks. Then in 35th, we've got Lee sailing a Tornado on the Big Bear Lake, California, USA, with a speed of 19.3 knots. Then with 19.4 knots, we've got in East London, South Africa, on the Dart 18, we've got Sean sailing with Sam in 34th position. Then in 33rd position, we've got Premslaw sailing a Hobie 16 solo on Lake Niles in Poland. Sorry about the bad pronunciation. There's a lot of Z's in there. With a speed of 19.5 knots. And then we're coming back, sweet home Velocitek. Oh yes, for Office Hands Dave sailing with English Dave on the Hobie Tiger right here with a speed of 19.6 knots. Very nice indeed. Then in 30th position, we've got Tom and Marcus sailing a Tornado on Lake Chiemsee, Germany, with a speed of 19.9. Perfect. Also, 19.9, we're going to KwaZulu-Natal on the Midmar Dam in South Africa on a Hobie Tiger. We've got Paul and Murray in 28th position. Great job there, guys. If you want to support Joyrider TV, a great way of doing it is to head over to totaljoyrider.com and get yourself some merchandise. Oh yes, so you could get yourself a Speed Stick t-shirt, a Joyrider hat, some sort of Joyrider drinking apparatus like this, or various other things. Thanks very much in advance for your support. Now back to the numbers. In 29th position, we've got Graham sailing a Nacra F17, sailing on Lac St. Louis, Quebec, Canada, with a speed of 20.1. Then with a speed of 20.2, sailing on Müggelsee, Germany on the C2 Formula 18. And this looked like a lot of fun. We've got Torsten, Annika and Felix in 27th position. Full send, 3 up on the F18. Very nice. Keeping it F18, in 23rd place, we've got Michael and Alex sailing a Nacra Evolution in Toronto, Canada, with a speed of 20.3. A little bit quicker for Ash and Keithlin on a Hobie 16, sailing in East London, South Africa, speed 20.6. Oh yes, very nice. Then in 19th place, sailing right here in Velocitek Bay, we've got Office Hands Dave himself, the man, the myth, the legend. sailing a Hobie 16 solo with a speed of 20.6. Then in 17th position, we've got Philip sailing in Courtmacsherry in County Cork, Ireland, with a speed of 21 knots, solo on a Hobie 18 Formula. Looks like this. Yes, it's got wings. Yes, Philip's boat is in very nice condition. And yes, he was sailing it single-handed at 21 knots. That is absolutely flying. Then in 16th position, right here, Velocitek Bay, we've got Jens sailing with Marcus on a Hobie Tiger with a speed of 21.3 knots. Great shot there, guys. Then in 14th place, we've got Mark and Reg, again back to East London, South Africa, sailing a Nacra 20 with a speed of 21.7 knots. Then in 12th place, we're going to the second home of speed on the planet, Lake Weber, Queensland, Australia, where we've got Steve Ned Kelly sailing solo on the Hobie 16 with a speed of 22 knots. Very nice, full send. In 7th place, big player on the Tornado circuit, we've got Jan Leo, but this time sailing a Wasp. Yes, that is a foiling monohull on Wannsee, Berlin, Germany, with a speed of 22.9. Very nice, cooking some serious goose there. And then we are really giving it the beans now with a speed of 23.10, winning the East London, South Africa end of season leaderboard. We've got Wayne sailing with Troy on the Dart 18. That is absolutely flying. That's in 6th position on this stick. Then in 4th position, we've got Dave and Tess sailing a Hobie 16, sailing on Lake Kutharaba, Queensland, Australia, with a speed of 23.5 knots. Now that is 23.5 knots. That is seriously taking it down the mine shaft. Great job there to Dave and Tess. Nice. In 2nd place, we've got Kevin and David with a speed 27.1 knots. Whew, that is quick. Sailing out of the Isle of Sheppey Sailing Club on the River Medway on the east coast of the UK. Sailing a Nacra F20 carbon foiling. That is a quick boat. Oh yes. Leading the charge. This is what it looks like to be foiling on an A-class catamaran. And this is Thomas. Thomas is sailing out of Oresund, Copenhagen, Denmark, with a speed of 28.9 knots. Yes, that is the biggest speed that we have ever seen on the global speed stick. Great job there, Thomas, but that is an absolutely phenomenal speed. Well done to everybody who's been getting involved with the speed stick. Well done to everybody whose name didn't get a mention today, but that is because you were mentioned in the previous update video and it would have taken far too long to go through absolutely everyone in this update. If you want to get involved on the speed stick, please do. All the information you need to get involved is in the video description below. And yes, if you want to know how to sail faster, check out this video right here. If you're not yet subscribed, subscribe to Joyrider TV. Otherwise, thanks for watching and I'll see you soon with some more.